Hello and welcome to Flashback, a recap of stories that made headlines during the week. We begin from Kaduna State, where on Monday, 3 victims of the Abuja-Kaduna train attacked by terrorists regained their freedom. Their release is coming barely 48 hours after disturbing images emerged showing how the victims were tortured in the terrorist camp, and few hours after the relatives picketed the Federal Ministry of Transportation demanding the release of their loved ones. The victims, who consist of 2 males and a female, secured their freedom.
It came as a shocker for the students, especially those writing the senior school certificate exam of the National Examination Council, whom the school authorities have made to stay back to write their exams. The directive for the closure of the Federal Government College Kwali on the outskirts of the Abuja metropolis is coming days after reports indicated a plot by terrorists to attack schools in Abuja.
There is chatter within the intelligence cycle that terrorists are planning to attack facilities in and around Abuja. In particular, the schools were mentioned as likely targets.
Security has been tightened in the school and in the metropolis of Abuja, a situation which is also creating apprehension. The threat to the schools is part of a larger security challenge the country is grappling with. On the same day, families of the kidnapped victims of the Kaduna-bound train attack picketed the Federal Ministry of Transport headquarters. The inscriptions on their placard state clearly their demands.
In the bush, my sister and a little baby are in the bush, sleeping in the bush. We don't know what they have been fed with. We don't know the kind of water they are drinking. We don't know whether the clothes they went in have been changed. And that is no, of course, because we can still see them in the same clothing that they traveled with.
As we speak, they have been flogged, they have been macheted, they have been given all sorts of punishment.
In one of the Security Council meetings, it was reported that Mr. President, I think the second one held this year, Mr. President directed that a center be set up and that center should be managed by the Railway Corporation for the victims of the families of the A29 train abduction. Now, till date, almost 3 months into that directive, that center is yet to be set up.
Not quite long after, 3 kidnapped victims regained freedom after 119 days in captivity. It was alleged money changed hands. 40 other victims remain in captivity. The evolving security challenges remain a source of worry for many, and professionals are increasingly speaking up against it.
This is very unfortunate. And we say, enough is enough. The president must take drastic action, drastic step.
Beyond the talk, the need for accountability by those saddled with the responsibility of managing security in the country is also paramount.
If you pick the most recent one, the Kuje incident, I'm not aware that one person has been held accountable. So that, unfortunately, is a recurring element, and it's probably the major reason why we're not seeing an improvement in our security cycle.
For now, many like these protesters are gradually resigning to fate, yet hoping something would change.
On Tuesday, a nationwide protest hit major cities of Nigeria. In the south and southeastern state, members of the organized labor protested in solidarity with the Academic Staff Union of universities. The union members marched in their thousands to the government houses in the capital cities of Port Harcourt, Owerri, Benin, Asaba, and Enugu.
The intensity of the sun notwithstanding, the Rivers State chapter of the Nigerian Labour Congress joins their counterparts nationwide for this protest. They are out on the streets of Port Harcourt to add their voices to that of ASUU with the hope of getting the federal government to take necessary action for the strike to end.
We are dismayed by the federal government's paralysis and reluctance to take the necessary steps that could lead to the peaceful resolution of the issues in dispute and by extension end the strike.
The state government does not regulate the economy. I've looked at APIS, another thing that is being highlighted here. It is not also a state problem. So this is simply a message which I've gone to the right channel to send. And I want to promise you that I will hand this letter over to the governor.
In Owerri, organized labor also lamented the closure of universities for 5 months due to the dispute between ASUU and the federal government. Labor says due to the strike, Nigerian students are more vulnerable to antisocial vices, with thousands of workers plunged into hardship.
We want to plead with the federal government and state government to help us make sure that this problem is solved in no distant time.
I want to urge you to be patient. The federal government is working around the clock now to see that this matter is resolved.
The NLC in Edo State also led its affiliate unions on the solidarity protest. They are mounting pressure on government to end the strike and revitalize the education system.
Nation that is serious about growth or the future of the nation must take into cognizance the need for the youths to be, seriously schooled.
Till today, 5 months after, our children are still at home, our brothers are at home, and our sisters are still at home. It's a shame, it's very shameful.
The protesters in Delta State appealed to Governor Ifeanyi Okowa to intervene in the stalemate between the striking lecturers and the federal government.
The insensitivity of this government, is degenerating every day, and if Labour does not, intervene into this issue, I want to tell you that we may end up, not having anything that has to do with tertiary institution in Nigeria.
We're all human beings, and as Nigerians, we are very good and good listeners. That this message will go up to Abuja. I know the government will do all they can to listen to us for this time.
In Enugu State, organized labor challenged the federal government to honor agreements reached with ASUU.
An agreement that is 13 years old running is still being contested by the same government. And if you go to our universities, it is an apology.
Our job, just as we have pointed out, is to continue to engage the federal government.
On Wednesday, the Nigeria Labour Congress continued its protest over the prolonged strike by university workers and closure of the nation's public universities. The mega rally in Abuja came a day after the NLC held nationwide protest to draw the attention of government to the lingering ASUU strike and its effects on Nigerian students. NLC dismissed insinuations that the gathering was to discredit the governing party to Labour Party's advantage, but claimed the aim was to support the protracted strike embarked upon by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, which has lasted for more than 5 months.
After Tuesday's rally across the states, the Nigeria Labour Congress on Wednesday led the 4 unions and the universities to register their displeasure over the over 5-month-old strike. Security presence was visible following intelligence reports of a likely infiltration of the protest by some undesirable elements. From the Unity Fountain through the streets of Abuja to the Federal Secretariat and finally to the National Assembly, the message was clear.
The rally has shown that Nigerian people now realize what is happening. Nigerian workers, Nigerian parents, everybody, even Nigerian students have realized what's happening.
We've signed agreements, and in that agreement, there is a portion where it says that after every 3 years, we must renegotiate.
If you say OSAS is not good enough, how about U3PS? You say U3PS is not good enough, how about if they merge them and they become one?
We have insecurity, gender-based violence that is going on. Nobody is saying something. If you cannot govern, resign.
At the National Assembly, the leadership of the Parliament formally received a letter from the NLC detailing its demands.
We have a documented complaint that have captured all the issues we have stated.
and what we expect of the parliament. If before now they have not looked at the issue as a serious issue, we want the parliament of the Nigerian people, to take this issue very seriously.
On Thursday, President Muhammadu Buhari held a Security Council meeting where the council admitted that Nigerians are tired and now gravitating towards self-help. With that in mind, the National Security Advisor, Major General Babagana Munguno, said the federal government was relying on the assurances by service chiefs, claiming that there will be a change in operational strategies.
Another Security Council meeting, which again reflects the mood of the nation and depicts a frightening security situation that for now has defied all solutions thrown at it. The outcome this time is an announcement that security agencies are working on a new strategy to deal with existing and emerging threats to national security.
They've already started working on a new strategy to deal with these snippets of violence. And they've given their word, their commitment to the president that there will be a change in momentum.
Data from the Nigeria Security Tracker, a project of the Council on Foreign Relations of the United States, reveals that activities of violent, non-state actors had claimed more than 5,000 lives nationwide between January and June this year. At least 996 persons were violently killed in January, 765 in February, 1,214 in March, 917 in April, 594 in May, and 736 in June, totaling 5,222 in the first half of this year alone. It is at this Security Council meeting that new strategies to end the killings and violent crimes are conceived, and a plan of action is developed. But to stop this escalating insecurity, the federal government insists it must be with the support of citizens.
When we keep saying whole of society approach, whole of government approach, to get a whole of nation approach, what it means is that everybody has to partake in this enterprise.
Already the security threat level in the federal capital has been raised, especially after the recent ambush of soldiers from the Presidential Guard Brigade. The Kuje jailbreak is another breach of national security that has left many questions unanswered.
Council is in the process of winding up the special investigative panel on the Kuje incident. And the idea is to come up with recommendations, hold those who are supposed to be held accountable for their deeds, and to ensure that this type of thing never, ever, ever happens again in this country.
The federal government also acknowledges that citizens are tired and gravitating towards self-help.
Finally, on Friday, few months after the People's Democratic Party's presidential primary, Governor Nyesom Wike openly condemned comments credited to the party's presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, on his choice of a running mate. The governor broke his silence on the latest crisis in the party for the first time when he arrived Port Harcourt after a brief time away from the state.
The outcome of the PDP presidential primary and the choice of a vice presidential candidate has since created fresh division in the party. The war of words between the camps of the two major contenders, Governor Nyesom Wike and former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, triggered fears of the PDP's electoral chances. The uncertainty was made worse by the silence of the man at the center of the controversy, Governor Nyesom Wike. But in his first reaction on the matter, Governor Wike says he has not been treated with respect.
See the statements he made. So many lies we are told. And then you say, I should not react to some of those issues. That would not be fair. assuming today I'm not alive, obviously what they have said will be accepted as the truth. Look at his attack dogs. Sule Lamido, Babangida Aliyu, Maina Waziri. Look at the statements they issued. Look at the abuses they rained on me. And they reacted. And Nigerians will say, look, you mean this thing happened? So it is important that as a person and for my own future and for those who are around me, just look, this is not fair.
Governor Wike challenged Atiku Abubakar to show proof of making genuine attempts to make peace.
Atiku Abubakar came to my house to say I should support him. So he doesn't know my house again. He doesn't know my house. Now people are calling you, those you don't even know, are calling you on phone. Sir, we beg you, please support, all kinds of things. Trivializing issues. No way. I would not accept that. I will not accept that. So Atiku Abubakar cannot say that he has sent anybody to let one person say he came to see me and sent by Atiku Abubakar. Let one person in the party.
Governor Wike promised to reveal more information soon to address several misconceptions about the fallout of the PDP presidential primary.